So this session is called Taking It Forward. And because it's the last of the theoretical grounding of all the theory and the principles and the practices, this means that we're going to put it all together and look about where we're going to take that for yourself. In other words, how are we going to integrate it all? Now, obviously, when you go right back to the beginning, the tips on how to have a mindfulness practice is basically very, very easy. Do the easiest and the enjoyable. Do that which has the most amount of benefit. Start small, same time every day. Use the same principles of Kaizen, the Japanese art of self-improvement. Same time every day. Start for a minute. And if you lapse, compassionately start again. And just say to yourself, if I've not got time for this, I'll just do 10 mindful breaths. The most important thing is that you read on mindfulness. Books is so important. You journal on your experience. And if you can't keep a regular practice, join a community of people that are doing a practice, such as, for example, 3 times a week with myself. Mind with Heart, they're doing it 3 times a week as well. And listen to the guided practices again, go back over them. Now, today really, if I was finishing this as a course where I was in front of people, in a room full of people, I would have done something called a compassion bowl. But we're not going to do a compassion bowl when it's all about taking it forward. Instead, you're going to write a card to yourself. Now, as you can see here, now that's back to front, I realise. But as you can see here, I wrote last week a card that says, don't open until the 24th of June 2021. Why? Well, journaling is a good habit to reflect, but also to set your intentions for practicing. An intention is the most important way to get yourself into a regular practice, because action always follows intention. In the mindful Buddhist yogic sense, we don't really set goals, because goals and targets, destination addiction, such a Western sort of idea. But instead, we're going to today reflect on everything that you have done with me since the beginning of lockdown. We're going to do a little bit of mindful reflection. We're going to reflect on every single experience that you've had. Reattach yourself to your core values. Remember what I mentioned last week, that it may be a good idea to revisit the core values, aligning yourself with your core values and living deeply mindfulness meditation that we've done. Because, as I've said before, people, if your life is not aligned to your core values, you're more likely to suffer and not be happy as much. Now, this card is a card you're going to write for yourself in a year's time, which has got your vow, your intention, your wish for yourself, which is meeting your deepest heart's desire and what you want for yourself. Now, aligning yourself with core values is quite important, because that can include a sense of service in terms of how you want to be a part of society. I did that practice with myself last week because I want to see myself in a year's time, aligning myself with a sense of service to society that is having much more benefit. As Buddha says, be the change you want to see in the world. It might not have been Buddha who said that, but, if you want to see change in the world, you have to start with yourself. So I'm hoping when I open this card, it is a very nice card. It was a photograph I took myself at Spurn Point and I stuck it onto a card. It's very nice. It's my favourite place, Spurn Point. And in there, it is, I'm hoping when I open in a year's time, I will become that change that I want to see. So if you haven't got a card or a postcard in an envelope, can you go run and get one now? You probably got one somewhere, a notelet or a piece, or if you haven't, just get a piece of paper in an envelope. Or if you've just got a piece of paper in front of you, just have that available to you so you can fold that up and find an envelope later. So run if you've not got it. So if you're not sure, while you're running off to go get that card or piece of paper or whatever, journaling is an important part of mindfulness, and the best time to do it is first thing in the morning and last thing at night, because you can also reflect on what you've learned during the day. You can practice appreciation and gratitude for yourself and for others based on last session, which was all about seeing the good in the world and those people who have all those people that have helped you, these interdependent influences in your context around you that have inspired you and helped you in your life. And that's quite important, isn't it? I read a lot of poetry and books and novels as a way of inspiring myself, but I've also got lovely people in my life that inspire me too. So instead of doing a self-compassion bowl, this is really important. So I hope you've got a pen and I hope you've got this ready. We're going to spend 10 minutes filling in this card after we've done a little bit of mindful reflection. So I hope you're ready for this. So this is the wish for yourself, because hopefully in a year's time, you've aligned yourself closer. I'm not saying you're there, but closer to your core values, your deeply held values in your heart space, your sense of service to the community and to the world, whether that is something to do with your desire for greater justice for other people, or just for yourself, a greater sense of equilibrium, because happiness is the wrong word to use, and I've said that before. Happiness is not always attainable, and life is a balance of the ups and downs, and equanimity is the better word, I would like to say, that hopefully in a year's time you have reached some semblance of equanimity. So let's start. Okay, so come into your seat, as we always do for our mindfulness meditation. Nice and comfortable. Okay. And place your hands on your heart, because this is where we're going to connect with everything below here. Okay, because we're going to scan that terrain of our deeply held desires, heart space. Eyes closed or soft gaze, whatever feels comfortable for you. And take 3 deep inhales and exhales, dropping down into your seat and feeling the weight of whatever is holding and supporting you as you connect with your breath. Now what I would like you to do now is to just, as you're dropping down into and connecting and scanning the terrain of your heart space, I just want you to reflect on the whole experience of all the mindfulness that you've practiced with me over the past few months. What you've enjoyed and what have you learned about yourself and what have you learned about others up until this point. And just scan that terrain of your heart and see whatever comes up. We've gone over difficult emotions. We've gone through anger, shame, different aspects of compassion. Listening to our bodies, naming to taming, feel to heal, all these different practices. And I want you to now connect with what is important to you, what deeply held values, by connecting to the terrain of your heart. What deeply held values do you truthfully believe in that are important to your existence? And then in terms of wishing for yourself in a year's time, where would you like to see yourself? So if you are giving your future self advice, it may be, what healthier habits, what relationships do you want to attend to or clear from your life? And where do you see yourself in terms of aligning your values to where you would like to be? It could be career, it could be your hobbies, it could be education that you would like to undertake. Where would you see yourself if you gave your future self advice? What do you wish for yourself? And keep connecting with your heart space, because when the mind is quiet, the body provides the answers. The heart provides the answers. And then when you're ready, I want you to spend 10 minutes writing in the card all the wishes that you want for yourself that align with your values, coming from what you have experienced and learned up to this point. And you may want to add some people that you would like to thank. Gratitude. So 10 minutes starting now, and I want you to put all your thought into it, all your reflections into it, all of your heart, and nobody's going to see it because you're going to seal it in that envelope. You're going to put your name on the front of it, and you're going to put the date from a year from now on the front of the envelope. It's an intention. Where are you going to take everything you've experienced and learned about yourself? Where do you want to go with it? Where do you want to take it forward? Integrating everything, reflecting, coming from this self-compassionate desire to want the very, 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 very best for you. Aligning your life to your true core values. What sense of service do you want to give to yourself and or to others? This intention is so important, because this intention is not just a wish for yourself, this is a wish for your own well-being, and when you are happier, everything around you will fall into place. I'm not saying I believe in the power of attraction. because that doesn't exclude all the other contextual factors that prevent people from getting these things. But to get yourself into safer ground. After all, everything we've done with the mindfulness is all about dealing with the roadblocks. And we've talked about silver linings. We don't learn anything from success. We only learn from difficulties. And if there's anything that we can get out of this experience of lockdown, would you be going back to the life that you had before you went into lockdown? Do you want to repeat that same life? Or do you want to live your life to the full? At this particular juncture, where do you want to be? Do you want to repeat everything that you've lived by before? Whose set of values have you been living by? Yours or other people's? And nobody says that you have to be somewhere in a year's time. Life's a journey. It's a continual effort. One step is the direction that can always get you in the right way. I've been doing a lot of stuff, to be perfectly honest, and keeping it entirely secret to the entire world. And I won't reveal it until I've attained it, because I'm definitely not going to jinx anything. I'm a very behind the scenes person at the moment. I'm working on myself. So I hope that you're thinking about all this, your own journey and working on yourself and where you want to be with yourself. And I'm not talking about money or possessions or buying stuff. I'm talking about these things that are utterly priceless, that you can't buy. So we've got a few more minutes left while you fill your card. So it's all about taking forward, reflecting. Remember, you might have a lot of dead wood in your life that you want to get rid of. You just got to surround yourself with lots of positive people, positive situations. Sometimes it could just be as simple as you're being hanging around with the wrong tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vision of yourself. I did this in 2016. I opened the letter 1 year later. Guess what? I did everything in the letter that I said I would. because at that particular time I was so frightened and so depressed and so full of anxiety. I just didn't think I had the guts to do it. And then, do you know what the nicest thing about opening the letter 1 year later? Is it all fell into place. I just had to take the leap of faith. I had to do the Indiana Jones thing, in the Temple of Doom. Yeah. And then after that, for 4 years, I had it stuck on my fridge to remind myself every day that I did it. All because I had a dream about David Bowie, and it's all his fault. David Bowie started it. I had a dream about David Bowie taking me to see Andy Warhol. You know what they say though, don't they? Turn to face the strange, and that's what I did. So yeah, that's why David Bowie is my Ishtadevata. I don't have a god or a Buddha statue on my altar where I might do my meditation. I've got a poster of David Bowie and Frida Kahlo, because I wrote in that letter that I had to reinvent myself completely, and yes, I did. I completely reinvented myself. All because David Bowie told me what to do in a dream, and that is exactly the same as Flight of the Conchords, because that's just what happened to Brett. Brett was told by David Bowie to do something. That's what he said anyway. I was told by David Bowie to do something in a dream, and I did. Isn't it crazy? And I didn't like Andy Warhol when I met him as well in the dream. But that was the whole idea of going into unusual territories and weird experiences. That's what Andy Warhol symbolised. Getting out of my comfort zone, because it's so easy being in your comfort zone, isn't it? Don't you think? It's safe. It takes a bit of bravery just to step out of it. It's like when you watch Shawshank Redemption, the film, isn't it? Andy Dufresne. And the character of Red, played by Morgan Freeman, because when he leaves prison and he goes to the halfway house and he contemplates ending his life because he's so institutionalised and he can't leave the prison. So he just does it. But then he meets Andy Dufresne. And you just got to be a bit Andy Dufresne. It's like a metaphor for life. You literally swim through the sewerage pipe of life to escape. And now your 10 minutes is up, as I've just waffled all the way through that. So, whether you are David Bowie or Andy Dufresne or Frida Kahlo, who is her own muse, she doesn't need anybody else, or if you are Maya Angelou, you know that the only person you need to be on the side of is yourself. Whoever inspires you the most, always remember that. And if you have a picture of them, I would stick it on your mantelpiece and look at the picture of the person who inspires you the most every single day. It might be a dog. It might be a normal, non-celebrity person. It may not be a poet or a painter or a writer. It may not be Frida Kahlo or David Bowie. But always look at that picture every single day for the next year and see where it takes you.